Radical Jack here. It's the lovely smell of Paulo Santo. If you've never experienced this, it's I mean, I like frankincense and eucalyptus, and I like lots of smells, sage, and not really into those kind of incense sticks. I don't really trust most of them, chemical based, but this is just a wood, and it's phenomenal. I mean, once you've got a whiff of it, it's just something that, wow. Yes, sandalwood could come close to it. Maybe there are very few smells out there like this. It's spectacular. Which I guess is one of those things that we talked about before. In relation to what is natural and that is that what is not. I mean, yes. It's crazy when we really think about what it is that we say we can't afford organic food. We can't afford to go into the health food shop, and believe me, the health food shops in Ireland are, some of them, and then especially the ones that are not so busy, and they've never really been able to take off because maybe there's not enough people going in there. They're just about surviving. It's difficult, but the markup on some of the products is just it's way too much, and that in turn then can only put people off even more. Luckily, there's one in Mullingar where I am, Nuts and Grains, and it's quite reasonably priced, on most things. So and they've been established for 20 years. It makes a difference, I think. So yeah, we really got to look at these things, as to what we can afford, because even people who are apparently really conscious, there's ones that always promote themselves as wide awake, and it's so interesting to see how where the support goes, and what people think they can afford or can't afford, and they go out in an evening and spend £4 on a pint about 20 times, and buying rounds, and whatever the case may be, it's people they can afford their cannabis, their weed, their weekly this, that. I've seen people on the dole, 180, 200 euros a week, and they buy their little bit of spliffy and have a few pints on that night, and then buy the crappiest shit as cheap as food, and it really, it's amazing. I've often sat in a house like that and cooked a meal, and vegetarian maybe, or even vegan, and sat down, shared with 5 people, and actually told them what this cost. Like feeding 5 people on like literally £6. Really good organic food as well, with some kale, and they're just amazed at this reality. Is like that, And that is part of the program, is this wool that we pull over our eyes, this veil that needs lifting, because it's a mindset that we get ourselves into because of convenience. I mean, in the garage the other day, there's like mashed potatoes already mashed in a package. It's just like, how long does it take to make some mashed potatoes? In all fairness, it's like you cut the spud up really small, and it's 10 minutes, and you can mash it. Boom, it's done. So for students and young people and stuff, like, who are not really quite aware of how to manage money and stuff like that, and some are, some have no choice, But even so, it's amazing what you can buy, at the market, if you get there at the right time, or even organic food in supermarkets is often on the reduced pile. So there's loads of things that you can do, but in reality, when you weigh it up, it's just about consciousness, and it's about awareness, and it's about the habit that you've got yourself into, so these are the things that are coming back to me right now, and also for my own mind and situation and awareness in and around this. It's interesting, because when we move from place to place, it's like I found myself degenerating myself, since I've been back here, because I'm not in Glastonbury, where I found a network of more conscious eaters and people who have a lot of background in, we'll say, making their own food and have the good diet. So I come back here where it's a little bit less conscious. I go down home or whatever the case may be, and I might have my mum's cooking, and it's it actually affects me. It affects me, some of this food, when I eat it, because it's although it's nice to have that home comfort and memory of the old stuff your mum used to make or whatever, but in reality, I often come away feeling like poisoned. Um, so it's really interesting, this whole story, and I also I was touching upon something the other day, which I think is really important to understand about food, and I think I was given the example of a strawberry before I went on a tangent. Well, a strawberry has 200 nutrients in it, and a lot of the nutrients send these oils up to the top of the skin, and this is all proven. It's been looked into, and so in effect, the strawberry is like the oils that it presents to the skin is it's like a natural sunblock. And I like the idea that is using that as an analogy for food, in the same way as oats is thermal and bananas are cooling. So you have cooling and warming foods, and so it don't make sense eating cooling foods in the winter or when it's cold, because you're in need of thermal food, and that's the food that's generally available, like the root vegetables, and at this time of year. You still got the winter kale and the leeks and the turnip and the swede, whatever, the parsnips and the celeriac, and there's a wealth of vegetables that wasn't once around, cauliflower and stuff like that. And so just because the cucumber's there, or those cooling foods, it doesn't make it right, because again, as I said, it has to travel, there's a lot of energy to get it here. And it's not to say that, when you buy an organic, sometimes it's, the stuff's coming from Holland or it's coming from Germany, but we can certainly reduce that to a large degree by looking at the packet, and, just as a training ground to help ourselves become more conscious of seasonal eating, And then when the strawberry comes back into season, it literally is coming up and into that season for that very reason, because there's more sun, there's more light, the weather's changing, and you need that cooling food, So this is very commonsensical. It was 8 minutes and 8 seconds there when I said that. I love the synchronicity of the numbers, and so we're on an infinite walk here, a double infinity, 88 days. And this is what I'm here to share with you. I mean, as I said, I'm going to give you a limited amount of knowledge, in relation to what I know. But the analogies hopefully will be enough to get you interested, so that you can go and look for yourself and research these things. And above all else, just to remember those two things, because it's really easy to go off track. But and it's very, very hard to break the habit. So like I said to you, these things that I'm saying to you about not giving yourself a hard time for the continuous fall and attempts that you may have to make, till you get yourself solid and manage to change that program, and break that kind of habit of the way that you do things, and so those two things are quite easy to remember, think seasonally, and just try and remember that there's a reason for a food coming up at a particular time of year, and when it comes to strawberries and fruits and stuff, you get to leave them alone for a while, and then you get to look forward to them, and it's like everything, an in breath and an out breath, and when you you pull back, in order to go forward, it's all these things are they're in the ancient text and in poetry and song, music. It's very interesting. The dark and the light, the day and the night. Everything works in this kind of dance. This movement. This rhythm. So it's the same thing. It's like you never get bored then of any food, because if it's eaten in the correct season, you get to look forward to it. And also, if you're a smoker and a drinker, or and you really like that kind of thing, it's like, again, it's I would say the best time to smoke is in the wintertime, if you really want to smoke. That especially if you like cannabis and stuff, it's because that's your time for reflection, and if that's what it helps to do, or but if you're using cannabis to escape, it defeats the purpose, or to relax or whatever, I think everything has its season. Make hay when the sun shines, and you would grow your various things like your vegetables throughout the season, and in the hope of harvesting, having a good harvest in the autumn, and so that would be the time when you'd harvest your weed, and then you would end up, you have the winter to smoke it, and then the spring to clean yourself out again, so not you don't have to be extremist and give everything up, if that's who you are, but at least to help with the change, who knows, when you've let something go for a period of time, you might think, oh, I feel so much better. I might feel like that after 3 months of just vegan food. Maybe if I manage 6 months with the summer coming in, and I move into the other groups of food that I can have, like salads and stuff, and fruits and smoothies and all these things like that could be on the menu. It might be the same for me. I might after 6 months think, well, this is it. I don't know. I'll start to remember maybe some of the things that have happened to me previously when I've gone on these fasts, and start putting food into my body, and I fully feel the negative vibration of that food, and might not want it again. So when you hear me speaking about things like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, these are the things that's going on in my head, and my the attachment, and the that feeling of loss, and want and need and desire, and just the force that these things have over us, this spell, if you like, because it's there's a lot of interesting hormones, if you like, and various attachments we have to these things for lots of different reasons. Like I haven't investigated myself, but I've been told there's opiates in bread. So like these foods, we are addicted to them, if you like, and who's to say, right or wrong about stuff, everything in its and in small doses, I guess, but it's just worth looking at this, and so that's why I'm kind of like, you may see me struggle from time to time, because I'm like, oh no, maybe I'm never going to eat meat again, and I'm starting to miss that chicken, or miss that fish, and but it's like, I don't know, at this moment in time, anything could happen. I'm not going to put never say never, on anything, but certainly for the best part of it, this is why I'm doing this, so that I can move into a new paradigm within myself, a new shift in consciousness, to truly see that, some of the behavioral patterns and problems that I have within myself, and my mood swings, and how I act and react, and the mental psychosis, all the things that have gone on throughout my life in relation to what I might have blamed something on previously, because I used to blame smoking for a lot of things, and then I found when I stopped smoking, I still had the same problems, and then I started to kind of look at the food, and when I took out certain foods like sugar, I was amazed that the things I used to blame on smoking was actually to do with sugar. And so how many of these things do we get mixed up? This is what I'm questioning and looking at, and wishing to bring into my awareness. I'm ready for this, and so that's another good reason for the fast. So as I can, eliminate all the possibilities of which is which and what is what, and so on. So yeah, blessed be. Till next time. See you tomorrow, and appreciate lots of love.